I already put some in the freezer.
Okay. That's all I want to know.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, man. Okay, let me get this cleared out. Whew. YouTube hates me, okay? This is the fourth time I tried to put this stream up, and it just kept giving me, the spins. It hates me. So, hi, Tammy. Hi, Amy. Whew. Oh, okay. Let me get this finished. Get it off my desk. Well, I set up that live and I set it up right before Laura and I got off because I never know what time we'll end exactly. So I always try to give myself 25, 30 minutes between that and when I come back on, so everybody can go to the bathroom or get something to eat or whatever. And normally it doesn't give me any problem. But it seems like after I've been on StreamYard, it doesn't want to start a regular feed on YouTube. It's just irritating. So then I put up the notice, everybody goes to that one, there's nobody there. And then they get frustrated, and I get frustrated. And I end up having to put up a new one, and I put up a new one, and that one didn't go live either. I'm telling you, YouTube hates me. One more. Go. Tie this off. Good as new. Scissors. Where'd my scissors go? Here you go, honey. All fixed. All right. I had to hit hubby's pillow. It's his TV pillow. Ooh. All right, let's see who's here. Hi, Amy. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Arlene. Hey, JD. Hi, Carla. Did I get everybody? Cool. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now let's fold this first. And we'll start hacking away at it. All right, so I really need shorter files. Yeah, it's definitely that time of the month. Oh, where's my bony? Do I want to do? I'm going to take this off. Hi, Esther. Hi, Janie. Well, crap, that doesn't fit in this cutter. I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. I have no idea. I'm just going to fold this thing up until I find something that I'm comfortable and happy with, and we'll figure out what it's going to be. I may not like it, and I may throw it out of here 3 or 4 times before I figure this out. So at this point, I'm not really making anything so much as I'm just messing around. Nothing better to do. How big is this thing? I need a bigger ruler. You're very, very welcome, my darling. Well, so 7 1/4. You're fine. Seven 1/4. I like it. I like it a lot. Where's that bone? Come on. Okay, 7 1/4. Crease. Let's open this puppy up and fold it. Yeah, this is how I create. I just kind of start doing something until I figure it out. All right, so now we have 2 flaps that go like this, and then we have that in the middle. And I don't want that to look like that, so I'm going to cut up the middle of this. I make all my prototypes out of these cards. Okay, I gotta take something off of there because I don't like that. Bye-bye. Okay. Then, okay, I cut that, and this isn't attached. Got that, 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 there. So, what do I want to do with this? I have no idea. Just seemed like a good idea at the time. So, what are we up to? So, Annie, you've seen Tiffany? Because, like, everybody was kind of wondering where she went because she just, like, disappeared. Okay. What am I going to do with this? No, I like it better that way. Go with this. So, this pocket. And I can't turn it, so this is going to cut across there and there. Well, let's try that and see what that does. There's that. Yeah, because if I take that off, I'm going to have to glue that on. So that's right, and one of those. Let me make that pocket over there. I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing, or if I'm even going to do anything with it. I could throw it on the floor. You guys could all be watching the birth of trash. Yep, I hate it. Okay. Oh yeah. See, I keep a stack of them under the desk because that's how I create. I literally cut them up and play with them until I figure out what I want to do. But I didn't like any of that, so I'm going to try something different. I'm going to cut all these. I'm going to cut a couple of these 7 1/4. About right. Helps if you put the flat end in, dum dum. Okay. This is how the tags were born. Those great big tags that I make, the pockets in them and everything. I don't have any up here, but my big tags that have the big pockets in the side, this is how they were born. Just mess around with stuff until I get it the way I want it. That's how these things came to be. What the heck? Let's do one more. Okay. All right. I do have a video for those, Arlene. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I think that was an upload, and it was a while ago. So let me see. You know, it helps if I just look on my channel and not through the list. So let me look real quick. Hold on, you're going to hear my big mouth. Oh no, it didn't do it. Okay. Videos. Wherefore art thou, pocket taggy thingies? God, that was a while ago, huh? Dang. Hi, Harry. Well, crap. Let me see if I can search for it. It's called Wait, Don't Go, We're Making Tags. Harry's just playing here. I mean, I suppose I could just, put in the link. Okay. That's the video there, Arlene. They're really cool tags, though. Here, I actually have some. So they're these big monster tags, and they're all different, but they basically have like tags up front, and then they have the tags inside, and they're actually wide enough inside. You see, there's quite a big pocket that you could put something with a little more dimension on it on this tag to put inside and still have it fit in there. See, this one's got bling on it, and it still fits, no problem. That one's flat. Hi, honey.
Hi, dear. You need to create some room on your desk over there.
Okay.
Beginning with that. There's more to come.
I know. Oh, in there. Okay. Yes, Harry's shiny. He's also a bit of a ham.
Is this okay, or would you prefer a smaller one?
Oh, much smaller. There it is. All right, let's try this. Let's go here and see where this takes us. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. I have no idea. I'm just going to sit here and play with some file folders.
Left you one for crackers.
Thank you. Thank you.
I turned it down on just a hair so low.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's such a good man, Charlie Brown. I know. I'll ruin your reputation. See, I like the brown and green ones. I have some of the green ones, but I also have them in all different colors because I'm crazy, and every time I see them, I buy them. I have blue ones and red ones and purple ones and pretty colored ones and designers and all kinds of them. Look, I admire anybody who gets older and cuts their hair short because, yeah, I'm a fat woman and I don't look good with short hair. I can't even remember the last time I had short hair. Oh, yes, I can. It was 1976, and somebody said, "Thank you, little boy." And my dad started making me wear bows. Because my mama got me a pixie cut. Maybe I should go see Janie. Maybe she understands what the hell gypsy shag means. Well, my granddaughter, you guys all know her, Oogie, is getting ready to hit puberty. And the first thing that whacked her right upside the head was the hair. She got my hair. Yes, actually, I am, Janie. I hate being in one place for very long. And so she comes over and like her mom's like, just feel it, just feel it. So I grabbed it and I was like, yeah. She's like, look how thick that is. Oh my God, she's gonna be miserable. I'm like, honey, my hair's been that way for so long. So I guess we're gonna be giving her an undercut and shaving the back of her head a little bit. Because she got my hair. I cut my hair, I color my hair. I am harsh as all get out to my hair, and it just won't stop growing. Shaylee's hair is very fine, but she has a natural curl in it, like I do. And the longer it gets, it just becomes wavy. And she keeps telling her mom, I hate my curls. I want my hair short. And I keep telling her, girl, you don't want to do that. You cut that hair, you're going to be a poof ball. Because I know. Because I got that standard Irish curl. And she got it too. That's like standard issue. If you're Irish, curly. Mm-hmm. I had a guy one time who tried to cut my hair with a razor. I wanted to kill him. He's like, no, I'm not going to sit here and pay $60 for you to destroy my hair with a razor blade. Because if you have any curl in your hair at all, the worst thing you can do is put a razor in it. It will tear your hair up. Ah, see, that makes so much sense, Janie. So are you just Romanian or are you Romani? Well, that's where you get the blonde and the white skin from, is the German and the Irish. So just Romanian, or do you have Romani in you as well? Are you Royal Romani? Well, Arlene, you know, my hair grows in purple. We had this conversation in Amy's live the other day. Apparently my hair comes in purple. Okay, what am I going to do with this, guys? Help me out here. Okay, I'm onto something, maybe. Okay, I'm on something. No, what I'm asking is, are you just Romanian or are you Romany? Are you Romany Gypsy? Are you Romanian Gypsy? It's not a bad thing. I'm an Irish traveler, so that's where my family comes from. On one side, my grandmother, she's Hungarian, and she's um, excuse me, my grandmother was Hungarian from Budapest, and she actually immigrated here a couple of years after my grandfather, and she's also she has Romany in her. So I was just asking because you know all them gypsies is related. You know those um, DNA tests they do to tell you what nationality you are? Well, my daughter did one, and hers came back that she had no Irish in her. And I told her it was wrong. She better get that checked. And she said, well, it says I don't have any in me. I said, well, I got news for you. You do. Um, and I can prove it. And so she went back and she got another one done at a different company. And it came back totally different. And it proved that she was Irish. So we did a third one, which also came back and said that she was Irish. I'm like, I know you're Irish because I was born there. We have family there. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. We're going to figure this out. Okay, you guys. Like that's in husky. Oh, no, no. I just mumble at my projects. They irritate me. Okay. So I have this giant piece of paper I cut in half. You have one of these back. Nope, I need a full set. There's one on the floor. Yay, there's one on the floor. I want this one. Now let's cut this puppy in half. of there, you little booger. Okay. All right, that's going to have to come off. Okay. Yes, I was speaking Vietnamese. How long is this sucker? 14.5 inches. What to do, what to do, what to do, what to do. All right. Okay, let's go 4 3/4. And then nine and a half. I'm going to take 1/4 of an inch off of that. Yep. Okay. That was interesting. Just dive bombed myself with my own cutter. Take off a 1/4 and see how that looks. In. Well, that's dang near perfect. Okay, let's clean this up. We'll clean this one up. Okay. I only speak a special language when I have pins in my mouth. My kids call it pin. Okay, so I got this trifold thing. Let's put some round corners on this booger. Let's see what we're looking at. Hello, corner rounder. Come here, please. Thank you. I guess what I'm trying to come up with is I'm trying to come up with something that I can put in a journal as like a flip out kind of thing. That's what I'm trying for, but I want to do it a little different. So, yeah, this is my process. Yeah, crocodile. My blood. There we go. What color are you working on, Jenny? Red and green? Okay, I like it. Janie, did you see the wallpaper? So about 2 months back, I was in the store and I was venturing and I saw these napkins and I didn't get them. And when I went back, they were gone. So when I saw this, I absolutely had to buy it. I didn't care what else was in the bag. And I bought this. Where do you think that's going? I'm flattening it out right now. It was really curly. Why would Janie replace her craft mat? What did you do to it, Janie? Oh, because of the scratches? So what's the deal with it? Is Timmy's mat just like paper on the back or something? It's not like colored glass or it's not sealed in. It's just like paper on one side. Mm. Yeah, but it shouldn't have scratched glass. Like your iron shouldn't have scratched glass. No, it shouldn't come up. That's the whole point of that craft mat. I mean, if you think about it, you use your craft mat. A lot of crafts involve ironing with really hot irons. You know, if I was going to quilt, I would piece right on my glass with my grit underneath it. I would iron my creases open, you know? Like if I had, you know, if I was making a piece of a quilt, I would iron it flat and then iron it open so that I could open up that seam. And I would want to iron it right there on my board. I wouldn't want to have to stop what I was doing to get out an ironing board to do it. A lot of crafts involve ironing or heat. I mean, think about it. If you did that with an iron, what would you do with a heat gun? Aiming the heat gun at it would make it peel up too. There's something wrong with those boards. They're defective. Oh yeah, there's something wrong with that thing. Because all this, Jamie, is glass. I just have a piece of contact paper over it because I always cover my glass with contact paper. And that way I have a clean surface. I can wipe this clean. And when it gets really grungy, like it is right now, I can just peel this up and put a new piece of contact paper on here. But I can spray like paint ink and stuff on this because I don't use a jelly plate. I just use glass like a normal person. So if I want to do like a jelly print, which you guys call a jelly print, I would just spray my paint stuff on the glass and do my jelly print. And wipe it up. When it gets nasty, then I just peel off the contact paper and put new contact paper down. And I hit this with my heat gun all the time, and it doesn't peel. And this is just contact paper. That is supposed to be treated so that it doesn't come up. Because look at Stacy. Look how often she puts her heat gun on hers. Hers doesn't peel. I'd be. You know what, though? Doesn't surprise me because the truth is I've not really been impressed with any product that has his name on it. So, and since he's just the front man of a design team, like he's never had an original idea himself, I think sometimes things just kind of get pushed and he puts his name on it. And I don't think he always knows some of the crap that goes out in his name. I'm just saying, I would be ticked if I paid that kind of money for a piece of glass and it started peeling and chipping. Yeah, they just use his name. It's a design team. He's just the face of a design team is all he is. Because this here, all this is a glass kitchen cutting board. It's a really big one. But that's all this is. And if I want it to look like his, I just put a grid under it like this. And then put the glass over it without this on here. And it would have the same grid effect that his has. I just like this on here because I like to keep the board clean. Speaking of which, needs a little love. because he's gross. You should see the one that's over on the side over here on the table where I write down all my measurements and everything. It's redonkulous dirty. No. No. Paint. This is all tape and glue. No, in the advertisement it says scratch resistant, heat resistant, easy cleanup. You're supposed to be able to do everything with it. I'd be mad as a hornet if I bought one, paid that kind of money for it, and it messed up like that. Just saying. Good for you, Janie. Right. They basically have the same mat without his name on it. It's probably cheaper. Well, Arlene, have you ever seen my actual top sheet here? This is the one that most everybody sees most of the time. This is my Wednesday board for mixed media. This is what it looks like. This is what my desk looks like most days of the week. Only when I come on and do a live do I turn it over and give you guys the semi-clean version of my paper. And it was getting pretty bad, so I had to add some cleaner paper to it. Because normally, yeah, it looks like this. Okay. We cut this booger down too. Okay, so these are 4 3/4, so 4 1/2. Okay. Come here, you. Come here. I always try to find a way around having to buy something expensive. Like I said, I don't have a jelly plate. I don't see a reason for it. Whenever I wanted to do something like that, like exactly what I see a jelly print doing, I've always just used a piece of glass. Because I can put paint on this and use a brayer and roll it out. It comes up looking just like a jelly plate. Why spend $30 buying something? I'm cheap. But you guys know that about me. Let's see if these fit. Beautiful. Awesome. Fantabulous. I like it. I like it a lot. Right. I just don't understand why people are spending that kind of money, why people have lost their minds. And I see it all the time, though. I see people going crazy for supplies, and I'm like, we used to do that with like a paintbrush. We used to do that with a piece of glass. We used to do that with, scissors. Don't get me wrong, there are some things I will concede that we are actually better off using specialty tools for. Because I don't care how good you are, some of those like wavy cut scissors, they're crap. And you can never get a perfect, like uninterrupted line with them. So yeah, if you can find a tool like the one that I have that's a razor, it's like a razor that cuts that way and it's on a guide, then that's obviously a decent tool to have, because then you can cut that whole strip of paper to look like that. You guys have seen this a couple of times in a few of my videos. And all this is it's got a guide on it, and there's 5 of these that come in here, and the blades all cut different edges. So I don't have to use those scissors, and I could cut, like if I wanted to do this whole edge in a wave, this would cut the whole edge in a wave. So yes, okay, I can see that this tool was maybe a good idea. But some of the other stuff, a die cutting machine, yeah, that was a good idea. Hi, Barbara. That's like Stacy has like the never-ending saga of the corner rounder. For some reason, Stacy has the worst luck with corner rounders. Like she finds one she likes and then it won't work. Or it'll work for a while and then it just like stops working for her. The cutter, Jenny? I picked that up at my Tuesday morning, and I want to say it was less than $20, but it comes with like 5 blades. Nope, I lied. There's 7 of them on there. It does a scallop. It has a scoring line. It has a perforate, which I love this one, like for making cards for kids. Because when I make a card for a kid, I can do like the card itself, and then leave like this much on the back, and then perforate it and make like a bookmark for them inside the card. So I love the perforated one. I've got the pinking, the straight line, the wavy, and the decal. And there's another one that's missing, probably in the drawer. Yeah, this one. I use this one a lot too because it gives a stamp edge, like a postage stamp. I love this one too. But they like literally, you can put them all on here and just leave them on and take them off when you need to use one. And this little booger is magnetic, so I can put it on my filing cabinet. So it stores really easy. They don't fall off because they only go off one end or the other. And I've got all the different wave things for it. And they all come with it for like $20. Love this thing. It is literally one of my favorite toys. I don't remember. I've seen it online though. Let me see real quick. It is Memory Keepers.
Soda.
Oh my god, you just scared the crap out of me. Soda would be nice.
And your food.
I'm done.
More?
Sure. Okay, Janie, it looks like Michael's carries them if you don't have a Hobby Lobby in your area, but they're $32 at Hobby Lobby. It would probably be cheaper if I just picked it up for you here and sent it down to you. But it comes with all 7 heads, 8 heads, because there's the one that's on there and then 7 other ones. But it's We Are Memory Keeper. And let me see. Dang, it's too long. The thing for it is too long to send. I know that sounded funny. Thank you, Barbara. Let me see if I can find it somewhere else where I can send you the link. Yeah, because the link for it is huge. Of course it is, right? Yeah, I can't get the link for you, but they do have it at Michael's. But I think I got mine at Tuesday morning, and I think it was like $20. I don't know the SKU number for Tuesday morning. It was probably in one of my early videos, but I can always check for you tomorrow when I go to Tuesday morning. Yeah. But it doesn't always help me. Yeah, because like we all have these scissors. I have dozens of them.
There are a dime a dozen at any Savers or Goodwill or.
I literally have a drawer full of them. And they just, you can't use them.
You said you wanted. Okay.
Because like when you go to cut with these things, now I have to try and line this up perfectly. It's a pain in the butt. It's already messed up because it's already gone flat at the tip. It's a pain in the behind to move this thing around. And I don't care who you are, you cannot cut a straight line with this thing. And it always looks like that. And that's crap. Thank you. And look, you know that's not straight. Yeah, but you know what, Janie? I noticed that in mine, at my Tuesday morning, it was actually, they had some in the discount. So I noticed they had some on the shelf and then they had some in the 20% off rack. So check the 20% off rack. Don't just pay the full price for it. But I'm pretty sure it was like 20 bucks. Yeah, my grandkids use these more than I do. That's only because I usually don't let them play with rolling cutters. Well, I mean, Shaylee can, but that's a different story. The kid's more art than I am. Yeah, it is a We Are memory keeper. And if I had to list my top 20 toys, it would definitely be on my list of my top 20 favorite toys. I've even used it to cut like thin cotton, like quilting cotton, single layer of that. I've used it to cut that too. And it works fantastic. Oh, let's try to be straight here. Okay. Let's not be all wonky. Just come off of there. Don't make me heat you up. Oh, really? Booger. Yeah, you could use a 40% off at Hobby Lobby. Or use your 50% off from Joann's at your hobby at Michael's and get it there. Because remember, Michaels will honor anyone's coupons. As long as that store's in town, they'll honor it. No, the dial trimmer, the one that has like the circle at the top and you turn it to get the cutter. Every review I've ever seen of that, Janie, they say that it wobbles, that it's not a straight solid line. And since that is on an acrylic line, it stays solid the whole way because that's a really stiff piece of acrylic. Because I've heard really bad reviews about that dial one. People are like, no, it's like real wobbly and the line's not straight. It wiggles all over the place. I've heard a lot of people have problems with it, so I would not do the dial one. That's just personal. Come on. Come off of there. Piece of crap. Yeah. I've seen a couple of people. I know May did a review on it at one point, and I want to say Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter, did a review on it, and I think Lollapalooza did one too, and they all said the same thing. It's like as soon as you dial it in, it clicks into place, but as soon as that blade leaves the tray, it's all over the place. You know what we need? We need one craft channel where the person who does the channel doesn't get paid by anybody. It doesn't have any kind of an endorsement or anything. And what they do is just really test craft tools out, because we get a lot of information from a lot of people about stuff, and it's not always fair. Even if they're like, oh, well, I'm going to give my honest opinion. But then you find out later that, they get paid from that company. That's kind of sucky. Like, I know somebody who gets like $100 worth of free dyes and stencils every month from an AliExpress company, and they're constantly going on about how good they are. And I've bought stuff from that particular company before, and I've done it on more than one occasion, and it won't cut, or it like leaves marks, or there's like an issue with it. I had one where it was like I think it was like a heart that had the stitches that went around it, like a little stitched heart. And every time I would try and pull it out of the die, the outside piece would just rip off because the stitchings were too close. And so instead of just putting that little indentation in the paper, it would cut all the way through. So it made it like a perforated line, and it would just tear it off every single time. And I like contacted them, and I was like, hey guys, I don't know if it's just this set, what's going on, but it's not good. And they were a little upset about it, but I made AliExpress give me back my money. But the next thing I bought from them was like a cloud or something, and it wouldn't cut at all. I even like put an extra piece of foam, like the craft foam, the really thin colored sheets of craft foam. I put one of those in on top of my plate to give it just that little extra smush to try and cut it, and it still wouldn't cut it. Right. You're going to get you're going to get, if you are paid by that company and you want to keep getting your stuff, even if you're getting free product from them, and that's all you're getting, you're going to at least say that their stuff is workable. I know I did a review a while back on a We Are Memory Keepers product, and I was real honest about it. It was it's like one of their little board punch things, where you put the different letters into it to like print out a word or something, punch out a word. And I bought this thing and I brought it home, and the first thing it did was it ripped my finger open. The little pieces are supposed to connect together for storage. When I tried to take them apart, they ripped my finger open. And then I noticed that the casings around them were popping open. And I was like, really? Seriously? It's that crappy. And then there's like in the tray, there were like little lines in the tray, but there was all these little places where you could put the letters. But if you put the letters any place but into the little slot between the lines, it would wobble. And I was like, this thing is a piece of junk. So I took it back. And like 2 weeks later, somebody else I know did a review on the exact same product. And she just like was going on and on about how fantastic it was and how great it was, and on and on. And she thought it was wonderful. And I was just like, did we get different products here? Because that thing's a piece of junk. Call a spade a spade. That thing's a piece of junk. But yeah, even if you get free product, you're not going to give, I'm sorry, you're just not going to give a completely unbiased opinion. You just don't. I'll get you one, Esther. No big deal. Let me put it in my memory. Which is generally a piece of paper that I'm going to stick to my head. No, I'm kidding. Esther. colored ruler, cutter thing. Tuesday morning on Wednesday morning. There. Now I remember. But yeah, if you're on a design team or they're paying you in product and they're like, oh, give us your product. I don't remember who it was, but recently somebody had gotten a whole bunch of dyes from a company, and it's one of the ones on AliExpress that now advertises that you can have it shipped from the US because they have a subsidiary here in the United States that's now shipping dyes and stuff for them. And the person got a bunch of dyes, and they were saying that that the company also had embossing sleeves. And so I wrote to the company just an email saying, hey, I know that so-and-so does the reviews for your cutting dyes. Do you have someone who does the reviews for your embossing plates? Because I want to know if it works better for me and for my customers to buy them from you. Because if I can direct them to you here in the States, yes, they may pay a little bit more in shipping, but they don't have to wait 3 weeks. And their reply to me was, well, you look at our catalog, buy a bunch, and then you tell us. And I was like, no, I just wanted to know if you had somebody who reviewed them, because I know that you're paying this person to do your dyes. So I was hoping you had somebody, that you were paying to do your embossing folders so I could at least see the product. Because if I can see the product, at least I get a good idea of how it's going to perform. Because you guys know this, when I buy a dye, okay, you may have seen this one on my most recent video. I did not buy this dye. One of the companies that I buy from, and I don't wait 3 to 4 weeks for shipments from China. Okay, my stuff they FedEx it to me because I buy so much from them. Well, I did not buy this dye. They sent me this dye with an email attached. There was an email. There was a paper in there, and kind of explaining why. But they sent this to me because they wanted to know if I wanted to buy several of these to put in my shop. Because they know that I will go in, and if I'm buying one dye from them, it is because I am going to test that dye. Because I'm not going to buy this dye to sell in my shop if I can't get it out of the paper that I cut it from easily. If it's like it's a pain in the butt, and you try to get this out and this piece rips, no, I won't buy this. Because I'll honestly tell you, even if I do put it in one of my videos and go, this is available in my shop, but I'm going to warn you, when you try to cut this out, these little pieces right here could fall out. So they sent me this to see if I would put it in my shop, because they are aware that I don't sell anything in my shop as far as like my dyes and my embossing sleeves and all that stuff, unless I try it myself. Because if I can't get it to work, I know it's going to be a pain in the butt for other people. So I figure with my carpal tunnel and my big lumpy hands, if I can make this thing work, then anybody can make it work. I haven't tried this one yet, though. But I tell them too, I'm going to be honest with it. And they're aware of it. I don't ask them for anything, and they don't send me like $100 worth of stuff. They occasionally send me something. I found one for Michael's and 35% off. Yeah, it's about the right price, Janie. But But I'm telling you, if you have Joann's and Joann's has a 50% off any one item, Michael's will honor that coupon. If you've got a smartphone and you have the Joann's app, if you go into the Joann's app and it has that 50% off any one item, you go into Michael's, you pick up that item that you want and walk up to the front and tell them that you have a Joann's coupon and just show it to them. They will ring you up to match that coupon. It's showing not available in store. That sucks. And I bet you they don't do ship to store in your store, do they? On that item. Mean old shipping. Because if they let you pick it up in the store, one, they can't charge you the shipping. Because they have to ship it to you for free. Because they're not shipping it to you, they're putting it in the shipment that goes to the store. Two, if they ship it to the store and you can show that the price is less or that you have a coupon for it, then they have to give you that. They have to honor that in the store. So even if you prepaid for it, if you picked it up in the store and then showed them that there was a coupon or it had a better price, they'd have to honor the better price. Because that's the federal law for retails. Okay, so we got this. And now I can stitch this into a journal. Because most of my journals are like 9 inches, and this is only like 8 and 8. So I could stitch this into a journal. So now all I have to do is cover this part, this part, this part, and then like add pockets and stuff to it. Because I wanted to make like a neat little flippy thing to go inside my journal. That's what I'm working on creating right now for a video. So I think this might work. I'm just wondering if I want to stitch this in or if I want to do it kind of like a traveler's notebook style and like just do a band around the notebook where this can slide in. Like I could still stitch one long stitch in there and then just put this into that. And then you could take this part out if you wanted to. And it would be just like a front cover. And then you'd have like a pocket in here and a pocket here and maybe like a little tuck spot here and maybe like a pad here would be cool. Because then you could just take this part out. I'm thinking, my brain is, that's what I'm saying to myself when I'm talking to myself, Janie. They probably won't give you the option on it because it's already on sale. If it's on sale or it's a clearance item, they will not give you the option online. So should I just get 2 of these things tomorrow if they have 2 in my store and send one to you and one to Esther? You know what? This thing is so wrong. There. Now it's better. You cannot check online for Tuesday morning. You would have to get the SKU number for Tuesday morning and see if it's available. Let me see if I have it in one of my hauls. I'm pretty sure I do. It might be this one. Nope, it's back further than that. I know I had it in a video. Y'all are right. My blue bottle looks like an eyeball. Could be this one. Well, and I might have it. No. No, that's where I got that stupid Vicky Bruton stuff, and I hate it. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll just pick one up for you. I can't find the SKU number. So if they've got two in my store, I'll pick one up. If they don't have one in this store, I'll go to the other store. Because I've got 4 of them here, and I know they all had them at one point. I don't know why it does this, but when I live stream, it actually emails me and says, live on your channel. But it won't give me, poodle punks. Here's the link. Yeah. I'll look tomorrow because tomorrow's my Tuesday morning day. Because I know I saw them there the other day. I know they had some the other day. So now I just have to put this together as a video. see how I'm going to present this. Yes, this is how my brain works, guys. I actually have to physically do it. Write all the measurements down over here. And then go through this. So, we need to cut six pieces. Where's my stupid pen? 6 4 1/4. 8. And I like the file folder because that makes it thicker. This is how my brain works. So now, how could I put a pad in here? I suppose I could just stitch in here. And just stitch in a signature. But then you can't take off one piece of paper if you want to. So I'm going to have to do some kind of like a pad kind of over thing and staple a pad into it. Make that work on that side. That's going to show. So if I glue that on, yeah, I could staple it in and glue that on. Still have a pad here. Jenny, you have 6 Tuesday mornings within 9 miles. Now I'm jealous. Yeah, but it's like, how do I attach it? Like, yeah, I could do the perforation so you could just take off a page at a time. But that's like, I'm trying to figure out how would I attach the whole thing? Maybe I could just do a pad. Well, I could just put a pocket here and just make like a pad. Let me see. I know, that was horrible. Just cut that ickiness off. There we go. Like, I could do just like a pad. Yeah, I could do like that. And then so I could like put paper in. Angle this up. Put like a band on it. And then I could just slide that into the band with a pad of paper on front of it. That works. What do you think of that, guys? So like I could just do like a band here, like a decorative band, and then this would just slide in and out. So you could put a new pad. I could just put a regular pad in here too. Okay, well, I'm jealous, Janie. Because like if I had like a regular pad and I put a band in here, I could just slide it in, and then you could just take off regular pages. That's what I'm gonna do. And then in order to make that work, I don't cut off that 1/4 of an inch that I cut off on the edge here. I'll actually put a 1/4 of an inch here so that when it folds in, like when I fold it over on this side, I'll put in that 1/4 of an inch. See how my brain works? Do that, and then come out that 1/4 of an inch that I cut off and put in an extra so that when you fold this one in, it actually has some height on this edge. And then, so this one I'll put that same 1/4. I'll do an 1/8 of an inch on each side. And that way, when I fold it in, I've got a little bit, a little thicker here. That gives me a little more room for the band here and allows me to put that pad in so that this doesn't sit wonky. It'll sit flush. Cool. That's my idea. Okay. Look, my brain works in weird ways. What do you want from me? Okay, I have 2 Joann's, 2 Hobby Lobbies, like 8 Michaels, and 4 Tuesday mornings. We used to have 5, but the one that was in the center of the city, they closed down because they tore down the shopping center. And they just haven't reopened a new one. And I've talked to the managers at some of the stores that I go to, and they're like, yes, they're going to open a new one. Okay, so now that I've made a mess and I've cut stuff up, torn up, and thrown it all over the place. Oh, not so good. Okay. Okay. All right, so now I have a plan. So now I just have to do one and put it in a video and then have a journal around here someplace that I can demonstrate it in. Oh, I still have the adult little golden book. I can do it in that. Yay, me! I thought of it. I figured it out. Whoop, whoop. I'm so smart. SMRT smart. So I have new lace. And I love this color. It's kind of a steel blue, like a gray blue. And it has a little bit of shimmer in the flower. And then a little bit right in here. Oh, well, Arlene's got an AC Moore. And a Hobby Town. You have 10 Hobby Lobbies? Oh my goodness. Yeah, something about Hobby Lobby doesn't really like Vegas. And it's really odd because we do not have a large craft community here. Um, a few years ago, about 2 years ago, I was doing the craft fair circuit here, and literally, like, I was taking crafts, and they were like mass marketing garbage from China that you could construe as crafts. Um, and kind of that along that line. I think the only things that I really saw that were hand done was there was one lady who did handmade soap. There was another lady who was selling candles, but she said they were handmade, but I'm really certain that they weren't, that they were commercial bought, and then she just sold them. She took them out of the packages and sold them that way, and just said that they were handmade candles. Um, and then there was one guy who was, those glass bricks that you use like for showers and stuff. He had those, and he had the hole in it, and he had basically just put a whole bunch of like string lights in them, battery operated string lights, and then he like painted on them. They weren't great paintings. They were, you could tell they were stencil paintings. And then there was one guy who had like the wood signs where he would like stencil words onto it, and like had piece of old rope drilled into it with knots on the end of it. That was about the most homemade stuff they had. And everything else was guaranteed. It was stuff that I could order off of Wish or Ali or Alibaba, and it was like $10 to order it, free shipping, and you could literally tell because the booth had like maybe 5 different things in it, and they had 3 or 4 of each one, so that they just ordered them for the show. But yeah, here it's like nobody really wants handmade stuff, so there's not a big crafting community here in Vegas, which is sad because there's a lot of old people here, and you would think that the old ladies would get together and craft. Because I mean, like old people, but no, they're all busy in the casino. They're 87 years old with their little bucket of pennies at the casino. My husband wants to move me to hillbilly country. It's a horrible, horrible thing, really. He wants to move me to the middle of nowhere. And I told him if there wasn't a craft store within 10 minutes of that house, it's not happening. 10 savers. I'm going to send you some coupons for savers too, Jeannie. Yeah. Savers. We are the only people, I swear. When we were in Amy's live sale on Sunday, I was laughing because if somebody walked in and didn't know what, they were outside of our community, they would think that we had lost our minds because people were like in there fighting over old books that were half torn apart, and, paper that was like, it was books that were torn out of like sheets of paper that were books torn torn apart and stuff, and like old lace, and we were fighting. Like there was a bid for a skirt that was outrageous. It's like it was a skirt. It was a skirt. That was what it was. It was a skirt, but it had some cool trim on it, some great colors, and people were literally like fighting over the skirt. And I was like, if somebody walked in right now, they would think we were crazy. Yes. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. No, and they wouldn't be wrong at all, Amy. You know what okay, I watch some pretty weird videos on YouTube. Like, I have a really eclectic taste. One of the videos that I watch is this guy, and he just inherited a house that is 112 years old. Okay. And for the last like 50 years, his grandfather lived there alone. His wife was killed when he was young, and he never remarried. And he lived in that house alone for 50 years. So for 50 years, the house really didn't get cleaned. You know, it got picked up, but not cleaned. And so he's like, well, I'm going to clean out the house and, get everything out of here and stuff, and hopefully be able to get it repainted and move into it and be able to live in it. And I'm like shooting him off an email going, any old newspapers, documents, maps, farmers' almanacs, magazines, anything like that that you find, let me know, and I'll buy that stuff from you. 91 in Arizona. Hi, Harry. Did you come to lay down on mommy's table and let your fans worship you? Did you? Did you know? Or are you trying to tell me it's snack time? That's what I thought. Fat cat. There you go. You better get him before the dog gets him. She's coming. Here she comes. You better get your butt down there and get him before the dog gets him. You say hi to your fans. You say hi to your fans. Put your face up here and say hi. Say hello. Say hello. No saying hello? No. Usually you're all over that thing when it's on. All right, get down. Get down. Go eat your snacks. You brat. Okay. Oh, good God. Look, if I don't push him, then the dog comes in, and he's going to lay up here on the table, whack the dog in the ear because the dog's trying to eat his treats. And the only reason he wanted to be up here is because he wants me to put those treats up here so he can eat them up here. And I'm not doing that. Because he's spoiled. Oh, yeah, JD. Some of the houses up in that area where you live, they're beautiful, and they're so old. When I was a kid, we my dad took a job, and it wasn't really a job. Basically, we got like half of our rent paid if we watched this guy's property over the winter, because he ran a private like beach for the summer, like a beach club. And it was a huge piece of land. And there was like the water was down here, and there was like a baseball field, and then there was just some open field, and there was like a road that came down. And we lived like way back up in here in this huge log cabin that used to be the like the main building for the beach club, but he closed it down when he opened up the other buildings, and the lake actually kind of went around. So he had like two faces of lake, and over here he ran boats out of it. Like you could rent like fishing boats from him with small motors, or those like pedal boats. You could rent those from him. He had a couple of cabins that he would rent out. Usually, I think he had like two that were weekend rentals that he only rented out for uh, like 2 nights and 3 days or something like that. And then he had like four of them that were closer down towards the curve, and those were bigger, and you could rent them for the week. And then there was like uh, the new main building that he had built for the beach club, and then there was like the beach. And my dad, his basic job was to make sure that like the pipes didn't freeze in the winter. And at the end of the season, my dad had to pull all the boats out, and all of the cabins were up on pylons, so we stored all the boats underneath the cabins. So my dad had to like pull them out and put them underneath, and just make sure the pipes didn't freeze and that nothing ruptured or anything like that. He had to make sure that the floating docks got pulled in and that they stayed in, because kids would go and they would push them out late in the season, like after the beach club would close. And so my dad had to like pull them in and make sure nobody went down there and vandalized it or broke in or stole anything. He had to make sure the freezers didn't go down, things like that. And we lived there for a very long time. And my dad told me many years later, we'd actually driven over there to see it when I was an adult. And the house was still there. It was a huge, huge log cabin. The living room, the main living room, my parents had two 18-foot by 18-foot carpets that laid edge to edge, didn't touch any of the four walls in the living room of this place. And there was only like two bedrooms upstairs, and they were very small. And that was because the whole base of the house was designed to be a public area, and the rooms upstairs were just like the caretaker's rooms. But I asked my dad, I was like, how long do you think this thing's been here? And my dad's like, when we lived in it, it was over 150 years old. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, the main part of that house, which is why it was so small at the top. He says the main part of that house was 150 years old. The guy had actually moved the house, dug into where the hill had come down. He dug into the hill to put in the driveway and everything, and then the garage area, and then he had the house put back on top of it. And I was like, you're kidding me. He's like, no. So by that time, that house had to be like 160, 170 years old. Maybe 100, I probably 160 at that point. That house was old, 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 old. The best part of it though was because my dad took care of it in the summer. My brother and I got to be members of the beach club all summer long. Yeah, but I love your garage. I'd love to have your barn. I'd love to spend a day going through the stuff that's in your barn, bat or no bat. Did everybody see JD's video of the bat? Y'all know she got attacked by a bat in her garage, right? Out in her barn. So she goes out there to film it very apprehensively with her daughter. And she opens this thing up. And I'm expecting to see like an old barn. No, this thing is literally full. It looks like a hoarder's house full of crafting stuff. Okay, I'm sure it's not all crafting stuff, but to me, it looks all like crafting stuff. And then she goes upstairs, and there's more. Oh, yeah. Amy, you got to see this video. It's hysterical. Not only that, but she has that stupid ferret I made her. Sorry, he's not stupid. It's Vegas. She has this ferret that I made her. And she's like doing the ferret voice and he's protecting her. You got to see it. It's hysterical. Yes. Seriously. Like you look at like one spot and you're like, oh, wow. Look at all that. There's all this great. And then she like turns the camera and you're like, oh my God. And there's more. And then she's like, wait, maybe he's upstairs. And there's this little narrow staircase. So I'm expecting this to be like your standard barn loft. Not a whole lot of headroom, not very big. And she goes up the stairs and there's this huge room full of more crap stuff. It's like literally eye candy for crafters. JD, here's what you should do. If you want to get that barn cleaned out, you should offer people the chance to have like 90 minutes for $100 in the garage, out in your barn. Just like, yeah, you can come visit, and you know, for $90, for $100, you get 90 minutes out there. You can do whatever you want for an hour and a half. Oh, it is, Amy. You'd love it. I just want to like jump off the stairs and backstroke through it. She turns around, there's like a full-size mannequin standing there. You're just like, oh my God. Yes, it's not all hers. I'd still like to backstroke through it though. Okay, let's stop looking at this. That's horrible. Let's stop looking at that. Oh. Good night, Esther. Oh, I hate when they do that. I feel for you, Arlene. My grandparents had one of those houses, you know, the ones that are like the base of it is rock, and then the top floor was built with wood. And like the inside walls in parts of it were still just rock. And I loved that house. Loved it. And it had a basement, full basement with a wood floor, wooden dirt floor because it was that old. It actually had an old well in it that my grandfather had like covered up so we wouldn't fall. And it was the base floor, the bottom floor was all rock, all the way around. And then the top was wood and the attic was wood. And it had a full attic with like rooms in it and everything else up there. And when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather said that the house was too big for him. It was like 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, including the attic, and 3 bathrooms, and had the old toilets with the pull chains, top tanks that were like way up in the air. And everything was pocket doors. Like between the living room and the formal parlor was the pocket doors. And then from the living room into the dining room had big pocket doors. So like you could, at Christmas, my grandmother would open them all up. It was the only time we were allowed the parlor. And she'd have a huge tree. Huge tree. And the ceilings in this thing were like 15 feet. And she would put in like this tree. It was like 14 feet tall just so you could get the star on the top. It was just barely missing the ceiling. And it had to be like 10 feet across. It was always a huge tree every year. And she used to make my grandfather go get it. And then when she passed, um, and she passed from diabetes, um, my grandfather he couldn't take it anymore. He just couldn't. He's like, I can't keep it up. I can't take care of it. It's too big. It's too much for just me. And he lived really far away from like everybody in the family in that house. So he moved out to the lake, and he bought a little bungalow on the lake. But he sold that house, and I hadn't seen that house in probably about 10 years. And when I went back to visit my father, my dad and I were riding motorcycles, and I said, let's head out there. And so my dad was like, yeah, it was right off the Passaic River. And we went out to where the house was, and both my dad and I, we came over the hill. So as you come over the hill, the house was like right there. Like you could come over the hill and go right to the driveway. And as we came over the hill, we both like stopped and just sat there and stared. Somebody had torn that house down and put in a modern office building, which was totally out of character because on both sides of it were like these old Victorian houses that were just like that Victorian, that had been rock and then wood based, the rock base and then built up on the wood. And they had just like plowed it out, and you could see the rock. They actually used the rock to build a little wall from the front of it. And we were like, are you kidding me? That's like all that's left. And my dad and I went down there and we parked in the parking lot and we walked around. And in part of the wall, when my dad had gone off to the Navy, my grandparents had his face carved into one of the rocks. Like the guy came out and he pulled out one rock and he carved my dad's head, and then they put it back in the corner. And there was that rock. And my dad like got down there with like some wrench or something he had on his motorcycle. He was like beating it out of there. And the guy came out and was like, you can't do that. And he goes, screw you, that's my head. My dad took the head out of the wall that they had in this office building. It was funny as hell. My dad's like driving back home on Route 80 with like this head strapped to the back of his motorcycle. I was laughing so bad. And nothing, and the thing is, Jamie, when you look at it, old houses have character. New houses do not. I live in fairly new housing, and there are days that I drive into my neighborhood and just start clicking my garage button to see which one opens. Because every other house on the street looks like mine. There's this big like plant in the front yard that has these bright yellow flowers on it. My husband keeps talking about cutting it back. I'm like, don't you dare. I will be driving around in the cul-de-sac going, which house is mine? Which house is mine? Which house is mine? I hate new houses. I really do. It is sad, Carla. It's so sad. Old houses had character. They had structure. They had memories. And I'm sorry, houses have memories of their own. When you walk into an old house and you see those little notches on the door frame, there was a family, a kid that grew up in that house. And his mom put him up against that door jamb every year and measured his little head. Where was he? And sometimes, if they've got like an attic and you go in the attic, there's stuff that gets left behind. And you can just go up there and kind of feel what those people were living, what their life was like. There's so much memory in an old house. And then they just come in and we're just going to throw everything in the trash and we're just going to tear it down and we're going to build something shiny and pretty and new. No, that old house was really pretty too. Yeah, it sagged a little bit and it needed a paint job and maybe the porch creaked. But just the memories of the porch creaking, you know? Those are the things. Like I remember sitting on my grandparents' porch every year on the 4th of July because the parade used to go right past their house. And for years and years and years, my mom was born on the 4th. My grandfather had my mom convinced that the parade was for her. So every year, the band for the local Eagles would come down the street. They would stop right in front of my grandparents' house, turn, face that porch, and they would play Yankee Doodle right in front of that porch. And then they'd turn and walk away. And for years, my mom was convinced, until she's probably like 10 or 12, she was convinced that that 4th of July was really just a big celebration for her, until she learned in history, you know, what it was really about. But he continued to tell her that the parade was for her. But, you know, those are memories that can never be replaced. That old porch will never be replaced. And for me, no matter how many times I see that lot, it's always going to have that old house built from rock and wood with my grandfather's huge garden in the back and his workshop. And that's what I'm always going to see there, because I grew up playing in Branch of the Passaic River right behind it. My grandfather had the hugest garden in the backyard. The doughboy pool that we would play in when we were kids. The little fenced area that my grandfather built just for my grandmother's Pekingese. All those memories for me are still there. But now when people drive down that street, they see beautiful old Victorian, crappy new building, beautiful old Victorian. Right? And most of the new constructions are HOAs. Who the heck wants to live in an HOA? Like, I could see if I rented, but why would I buy a home in an HOA? Why would I buy a house someplace where someone else is going to tell me what I can and can't do, how I can and can't live? No, thank you. That's like the one thing we ask whenever we buy a new house, my husband and I. Is it an HOA? We're not interested. We've actually told realtors, don't even show us anything that's an HOA. Because I don't care if the houses are 30 years old. Don't show me anything that's an HOA, because I don't want to live in homeowners association. Because I don't want somebody to tell me that I can't paint my door purple if I want to paint my door purple. Because right now my door is like this really dark burgundy, and everybody else's door in the neighborhood is like beige. Beige. They're all beige. My door is dark burgundy, like wine. Apparently, this house was supposed to be an HOA when my husband's dad had it built. This was supposed to be an HOA, and they voted the HOA out because they had rules like you cannot park on the street. If that was a city ordinance, that would be cool. But if I have company over at my house, I should be able to park in front of my house. Basically, they were saying you can't have company because you can't park on the street and only fit 2 cars in your garage, in your driveway. What, you can't have a birthday party for your kid because there's no place for them to park? And that's because there's an elementary school down at the end of the street, and they didn't want people parking on the street to pick their kids up at the elementary school. So they were like, the HOA is no parking on the street. And I guess they got into a huge rigmarole with the schools, because there's 2 of them. There's actually 2 elementary schools. So I guess they got into a big rigmarole with them, and they were like, no, you can't do that. Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend who lived in an HOA, and his neighborhood backed up to a golf course. They weren't members of that golf course in any way, but um, the HOA had a rule that any fence that you put up because of the golf course, it had to be just like a wrought iron fence. You couldn't put up like a wood fence or anything, and it had to have a gate for access for some bizarre reason. And his neighborhood, when they did a bunch of reconstruction here on the washes for when it rains and the sewage systems, they didn't get through the golf course yet. So it rained really, really hard. And that water flooded into the golf course and flooded out this entire HOA. Like 2/3 of the HOA was like under 3 feet of water. And it knocked down his fence. So he figured, I'm just going to put up a wrought iron fence back there. So he put up the wrought iron fence. The HOA came in and told him he had to take it down. And a lot of people that lived in that HOA, because they could not build it back to the standard that the HOA board said it had to be, lost their homes because they couldn't afford, because the HOA was like, well, no more shingle roofs. We want all the roofs in here to be the same, and we want them all to be tile. So you had to put in a terracotta tile roof. Even if your house hadn't been damaged, you had to put a new roof on your house. They wanted everybody to landscape with a certain type of rock so that it was all uniform throughout the entire, and you could only plant like from a list of 20 trees. You had to, even if you didn't want to, if you wanted to put siding on your house, you couldn't. You had to have stucco. And so when you get flooding, that stucco falls off. So 3 feet on the bottom of their house had fallen away. They had to repay, and you can't just stucco 3 feet. You have to stucco the whole house. So all these people had to restucco their house. That's like $10,000 just for that part, let alone having to, but the HOA that had collected dues for so long and everything, did they come in and put in trash, like dumpsters for people? No. Did they put in water, fresh drinking water for people? No. Did they bring in generators? No. These people were left on their own, but the HOA started making all these huge demands. And then the HOA went around and they like red tagged houses and said, well, they're not going to comply. So, they can't be in the HOA anymore. And they were like voting people out who own homes. And those people they just paid to rebuild their house. They didn't have money to fight the HOA. So they had to walk away from their homes. I'm sorry, I won't live someplace where somebody can tell me what I can and can't do. These are the 4 colors you're allowed to paint your house. Trim has to be one of these colors. No. If I want to paint my house purple, put a burgundy door on it, and put my window trims as black, that's what I'm going to do, babe. And there's nothing you can say about it. 1 tree, 3 ground cover, 2 plants with black. Yeah. Oh, yeah. His HOA had a problem. He is a Marine veteran. Okay. If you know any Marines, you know this about them. Once a Marine, always Marine till the day they die. He hung 2 flags on his house. 1, an American flag. 2, a Marine Corps flag. They fined him for flying a Marine Corps flag. The only flag that's acceptable is the United States flag, and only in this size. And it has to be hung in a certain location. And then they tried to fine him again because they determined that the curtains that were showing in the front bedroom of his house, which is where his stepkids slept, was a sheet and not a curtain. And it was right after the flood. And yes, it was a sheet, but that's none of their damn business. He was just trying to cover up the window so that when the kids went to bed at night and they had the light on and they were in there changing, people from the street couldn't see them getting their, changing their clothes. Because he had a little girl in that room. And you don't really want to, put on a striptease for the neighbors with your 8-year-old daughter. Yeah, he sold it. He just said, you know what, forget it. He finished the remodel. He was lucky. He works for a division of the same company my husband works for. And he went to Lowe's hardware store. And Lowe's has a program for people that have these types of situations where Lowe's will match any donation made in their name for building supplies. And my husband's company went in and they donated like $10,000. So Lowe's donated $10,000 to him. So he had $20,000 to get new appliances and repair the house and get everything taken care of, because they did not have flood insurance because it had not been deemed a floodplain prior to the city fixing the sewage systems. They're still fighting the city, trying to get the money back from the city, because the city's saying, hey, not our responsibility, but you guys are the ones that did the construction and caused the problem. But the city's trying to say, no, they should have had flood insurance, but you can't get flood insurance unless you live in a floodplain. And so he sold it. He sold it to another family, and he moved out of an HOA, and he won't live in an HOA again. He's like, nope, not going to happen. Right. I'm sorry. You should be able to fly. You know, as far as I'm concerned, a U.S. flag is a U.S. flag. Okay, I can see where people have a problem if you fly a Confederate flag. But as far as the rest of them, if you want to fly an Army flag, a Navy flag, a Marine Corps flag, a Coast Guard flag, and, you know, a Marine Corps, whatever flag you want, if it's one of the military services, one of the 5 military services, if you're a firefighter and you want to fly your firefighter flag, if you're a cop and you want to fly your police flag, if you're a paramedic and you want to fly your department's flag, you should be allowed to do that on your property. That is an honor and a privilege that you have earned and should be allowed to be done. And nobody should be able to tell you any different. Bottom line, it's your property. You pay for it. Those 0.23 acres of land is yours. You may not own anything under the dirt, but you own everything from the dirt up. And so you should be able to do whatever you want on it, and nobody should be able to tell you different. Yeah, he sold it and got out of there. He wasn't going to deal with it. All right, ladies, it is 11 o'clock at night, 12, 1, and 2, depending upon where you are in our great country. If you're overseas, it's probably the butt crack of morning for you. But I'm going to go spend 5 minutes with my hubby before he has to go to bed. I have to go to the store in the morning. So, you guys know the drill. If you haven't done so already, do me a favor. Hit the big red subscribe button. Like me, ring my bell, and share me with all your friends. I'm a lunatic and I stay up way too late. Till I see you guys the next time. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I'll see most of you tomorrow over at Poodle Mamas for Mixed Media Mashup. If you haven't signed up there, go out, check out Pink Poodle Craft, and sign up and come play Mixed Media with us. It is fun, and if you don't have what you need, it's okay. Let us know. You can improvise. We'll give you a list of things to do. So until the next time, bye-bye, guys.